Here in row 9, on either side of your elephant's head, we had an increase here and we had an increase here. So in order to make the eyes, we are going to go straight across just above that point. So the next row up in row number 8. And all I'm using is just some black string here. And now that I've got those marked, I can remove my 2 stitch marks. Now, ever so gently, you want to recess those eyes just a little bit, just to give some depth to the face. And you'll just keep passing that back and forth. Now, yes, there are plastic eyes that you can use, but personally, when I'm making stuff for really little ones like babies, we know that everything goes into their mouths, and I just don't want that extra choking hazard. Yes, they're supposed to lock in, and yes, I've used them with extra glue and everything else, but personally, I just think this is just a little bit safer. And that looks like a decent sized eye for our elephant. So now I'm just going to run it up through the top. And there we go. So next will be the tusks. You'll want yarn of equal weight. And I'll probably be using cream. Now you'll be making 2 of these. And we're going to start out with a magic circle. Chain 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's going to give us 7 all the way around. Go into that second chain. And now we're just going to do single crochets all the way around. Now for these, I normally don't count them because I want them to be a little bit different. There's not a single tusk out there that is exactly the same. So I just keep going around. And I'll actually pick up my elephant head every once in a while and compare the length of the tusk to the actual face. Sometimes I'll ask my elephant, do you want long tusks? Do you want to be an older elephant? Or do you want no tusks? They don't always have to have tusks. You can make them really short. You can make one look like it's broken off. That's the beauty of these little elephants. Each one is just a little bit different. When I first started crocheting, my mother was right-handed and I'm left-handed. And so trying to learn crochet from someone who's of opposite hand than what you are is not an easy feat. So for quite a few years I actually would watch my mom studiously and watch her hand movements. And then finally, somehow, I turned it around in my head. And I got to the point where I could make really long chains. And one day my grandmother, she was watching me and she was like, you know, you can run back up that same chain and you can start building on your work. So she taught me how to do that, and ever since then, I've just kind of taught myself. I didn't even really know how, I still don't really know how to read patterns and stuff. I've gotten to the point where I can kind of make sense of writing my own pieces, but if you're going to try and get me to make heads or tails out of something on the back of a yarn skein or something like that, I'm just going to look at you and be like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I think right about here, we're going to start reducing. So I'm going to decrease by 1 stitch. And you want this to be gradual if you're doing a long tusk. And remember that a good portion at the bottom will actually be stuffed up inside of the elephant's head. For when you're sewing it in. It also adds extra dimension to the face. Makes it look like the tusk is actually growing out of the face instead of just attached. So you can actually see the shape underneath your other color. So now we're just adding some polyfill. And of course, the one time I end up putting lotion on, I have no grip. There we go. And the trick is you want your stuffing to be quite even in and through your work. Takes a little bit more time just to add it in, but little bits at a time work out better. It doesn't leave you lumpy. No, I think I'm going to skip one just to decrease again. Small amounts now. And skip one more. Now we're going to do a slip stitch. Leave yourself a long tail. Take some of that stuffing and just pull it just a little bit, just to even that back out. You're going to make 2 of these. I like to go in and through that twice. And then run up one side of the tusk. And now you just kind of want to lock that shape. And there's your tusk. And you'll just make another one to go with it.